What's going on? Welcome to the Big Wheel Davis Show. Today we're working on a Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited 2014. It has a bad evap system integrity module. The abbreviation is ESIM, E-S-I-M. The code that it throws out is the P0456. I took it to the dealer, let them do a diagnostic on it, and this is what they determined the issue was. I have a little code reader, and again, it said the same thing, P0456, but I wanted to be 100% sure, just in case there was some additional issues going on. So today we're going to replace this. This is the new one. The failed one should be on the driver's rear, under the wheel well. So I'll have to take out the plastic rivets and get to it. Hopefully I can just take out partial partial of the wheel well and not the entire wheel well to get to this. So stay tuned. All right, this is the jack that came with the Jeep Grand Cherokee. Scissor jack, I don't trust it. It waits until you get it in the air and you get your legs under it, and then it falls down and cut you in half. But you'll see it's a little bulge here. It fits perfectly under the Jeep. And actually, you'll see a little arrow here that points to it. We're gonna go under there. We don't have a lot of light, but there it is, that little hole. The jack fits right in there just to secure it a little bit. And then we'll start lifting it. I did chop the front wheels with a little block so the thing doesn't take off rolling. All right, we're under the wheel well of the Jeep Grand Cherokee. I took out one plastic rivet. There's two. So two plastic rivets, one 10mm bolt, possibly one 8mm bolt on the bottom here. Can't see, it's a little dark. So two plastic rivets and possibly two plastic fasteners. Before you do this job, you just want to make sure you have the replacement parts. If not, this little mud guard on the inside is going to flap around. So get the proper parts. I'll put them in the description. And also, with the help of TV Magic, we'll make it appear on the screen somewhere in here. All right, I'm gonna try to do this job without taking the wheel off. I already have the car jacked up. I have a jack stand under the back to protect it just in case. I always use jack stands just in case this scissor jack fails, which it does most of the time as soon as you put your legs under it. But again, I'm gonna go forward to see if I could just fold this down to get to the part that I need. This is my fastener tool remover. I'm sure there's other ways you can get these plastic rivets and fasteners out, but I bought this because it came with the actual fasteners. It was like 18 bucks. So I got a tool and tons of fasteners at the same time. And this is how you use it. It's slightly bent here. Get it under, apply some pressure. And this plastic rivet pulls right out. Yeah, there's one more. I'm gonna have to remove the bottom screw here. All right, so I've removed two screws, the 10mm screw, the 10mm bolt, and the 8mm bolt. And so far I've removed two rivets. We got one more here. I saw the component in the back, but I believe I need to remove one more before we can get to it. And this guy is not a rivet, it is a fastener. I have a replacement, but this one looks good so far, so it might go back in there. All right, I got all my rivets, fasteners, and bolts out. And all I'm gonna do is fold this part of the fender back slightly and work this mud flap out, starting from the bottom, taking it easy. It's a real cheap material. It feels like thick carpet. Just sliding it out here, taking it easy. With my luck, I know it costs more than the whole car. There it is there. I'm gonna see if I could just disconnect it. There's an electrical connection, and then there's a hose, which is probably for gases. And then there's a tab on the back side you cannot see that needs to be pulled and then twist. Hopefully you can see me disconnecting the electronic component here. So press a button, pull. Should have been a tab on the back of this one. This one does not have a tab on it. Maybe it's just twist. We're gonna figure it out and come back. All right, I got the eSIM disconnected. As you can see, there's a tab on the bottom. You need to press it. Hopefully you can see this, it's a little dark. You need to press it and then twist one way or the other. But it was a little tricky. This thing was hidden up against the plastic, so you really couldn't get your thumb. You could not get your finger on it. So I ended up using my pry tool, or you can use a screwdriver to put behind it and push it back. Once it's pressed back, then it will exit from the little grooves here, and you can turn it and it comes out. All right, I'll get the new one installed. The item I bought was from Napa Auto parts. It looks exactly the same, except on the inside of the dealer's eSIM, as you shake it, you can hear a component on the inside moving. And I'll show you here. You may see it on the inside. Not sure what it is, why it's there. This is, it says that it's a OEM replacement, which is original equipment manufacturer. And I will use it on the car, and we're gonna clear the code later and we'll check it, keep an eye on it and see how it works out. So I'm gonna need two hands here, so I'm gonna have to disconnect. But what we're gonna do is, let me see here. Maybe I can get away with one hand. I noticed the gasket is a little different on the new replacement part as well. But as you can see, it fits firmly inside. It's seated with no problem. I put the new eSIM in. It won't turn one way, so it should turn the other way. Put it in this way and twist. It required me to pull the little lever on the bottom, looks like. It's just really tight with that gasket. So I twisted it and I'm checking it. It is not disconnecting. I mean, it is not removing without that tab being pressed. So it is securely in place. We're going to put the tube back on. And we're going to connect the electrical connector. And we are done. That part cost me approximately 36 bucks. It came with the gasket. The dealership charged approximately $90 for this same part, and the gasket was an additional cost. The total cost for me to have it installed was $288. And again, this is we'll say 15-minute process, and it's not difficult at all. Maybe I'll put a difficulty score on the screen just to show you what I think its difficulty is. The only difficult part is finding the replacement fasteners and rivets, plastic rivets. And again, I'll put some part numbers on the screen. I purchased the fasteners and the replacement rivets from Amazon. All right, I'm gonna work this mud guard back into the fender here. It's still partially in on this side here because there's a fastener on it, but just take it easy, work it behind it, pull down as you need to. It's probably easier without gloves, but I'm a big sissy and I'm tired of getting my hands dirty. I worked on cars for 6 years out of high school. In the last 3 years, I wore latex gloves because I got tired of spending 45 minutes to clean my hands, only for them to still be dirty. All right, there we go. We got the guard back in. Now I'm gonna start working with the fasteners and rivets. All right, my new rivets come in 2 pieces. You insert 1 piece into the rivet, push it, and what we're going to do now is insert this rivet into there, and then we'll do the same for the second rivet, which will go down on the bottom here. All right, I put in the bottom rivet instead of the one on the top, but I'm going to insert this top rivet right now, show you how it works. That was the first time I used a rivet on the bottom, a plastic rivet. So I piece it together like you saw earlier. I'm going to insert it, and I'm going to use this 5-in-1 tool. There is a proper rivet installation tool, which I do not have, but someone shared this technique online. If I find his name, I'll give him some credit because this is a great idea. But I'm holding the rivet in with the 5-in-1 tool. I'm going to grab part of the rivet and twist it. As I'm twisting this rivet, it's spreading. As I'm twisting the stem, it's spreading the back of the rivet. And you just keep doing this until it snaps. And this rivet failed. It is working, but it failed. I'm going to just cut it here. Actually, I'm going to cut it there too and make it look pretty. How you doing? All right. We are done. I just have 2 bolts to tighten down, which is that 8mm, my 10mm, and I have a fastener I need to insert in there. Earlier I said it didn't break, but it did break. If you want, you can go through here, clean that up a little bit more because this one is flush. So I'll cut it, make it look pretty. But other than that, this job is going to be done. I'm using an electric ratchet, but it's not required. It's turning, it's screwing into plastic. So again, you don't need any torque or anything, just as long as it's snug. All right, here's the 10mm. We're going to tighten it down, and again, doesn't need to be torqued or anything. It's just going into plastic, feels like. All right, got my rivet in here. I'm just going to push it in. It's not the original replacement, but it is black and it blends in well with the rest of the car. I was able to replace this evaporator or evap system integrity module without taking the wheel off. You see I do have it jacked up, have a jack stand under the bottom supporting it in case the jack fails, but I just had it there just in case. I never removed the wheel. I was able to remove the fasteners, a couple of screws, and peel back the mud guard on the inside. And you have tons of access to the evap system integrator integrity module, no problem. Again, maybe on the ground this wheel may go into the wheel well a little bit more, preventing, you know, as much access as I have. But if you have to, raise it up in the air. If you don't, you know, you can always try to use it or remove the component before jacking it up. Save you a few minutes. All right, these are all the parts that were used to replace the evaporator system integrity module. These are the it's 120 retainer clips. They got different models here. Honda, where is it? Where'd it go? They show Kia, Nissan, Toyota, Honda, and GM and Chrysler. And then we got the plastic rivets. I only used 2 out of the 150 piece set. You just have to find out, you know, when you pull the old one out, determine what size it is by matching it up with the new one. So again, we use these 2 items here, the fasteners, the plastic rivets. I use a 5-in-1 tool to install the rivets. And I use the needle nose pliers with the 5-in-1 tool to pull the rivet through and seat it in place. This is the fastener or rivet tool remover. This is my electric impact ratchet, which again, you don't need electric. It was real simple. But again, I used a 8mm and a 10mm socket. And this is the evaporator system integrity module here. Most likely some of the folks online and say that this component has gone bad, but they install together, they work together, so I usually replace them at the same time. So I just replaced the entire unit. Again, from Napa, approximately 36 bucks. It came with a gasket. All right, thanks for watching.